Well, welcome back to That Real Estate Show. I'm so glad that you could join us today. My name is Tim, and I will be your host as we dive into all things real estate. The goal of this show is to be educational and insightful, and hopefully, we have a little fun along the way. So, That Real Estate Show is not an effective treatment for gas or abdominal pain, and That Real Estate Show has no nutritional value. So I hope you enjoyed the jokes. As long as you tune in, at least just for that part, then that will make me happy because I work really hard on those jokes. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about how credit affects your buying power. This may be something that you haven't thought about or are confused about. So there's probably going to be a two-part series on this because there's a lot of information that I want to be able to cover on this one. So this is going to be a good episode, to share with people who are looking to get into the market and possibly buy a new home. This will be something that they'll definitely want to watch. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all those things and get other people that who are looking to get into the market this information. We will also talk about our mortgage definition of the week. It is going to be bridge loans or bridge financing. We'll talk about that so that you understand what that is all about. And then at the end, we will do our market data as always. In this episode, we are going to look at East Granby and we're going to look at Berlin. So let's go ahead and let's jump right in. Man, I am so glad that spring is almost here. It cannot come a moment too soon. So I don't know how you guys feel about the weather, but this has been an especially brutal winter. So we are just a few weeks away from spring. Hallelujah. And I'm glad to be back with you. I was sick for a few weeks, so you may have noticed that we didn't have any new episodes, and that's why. I realize it's been almost a month now since we had a show. So glad to be back. Glad to be back amongst the living. So let's jump into this episode today. So this information I got through a continuing ed class. If you're not aware, realtors, real estate agents have to take continuing ed every cycle. We have to have 12 credit hours, just like teachers, and I think lawyers have to do that as well, as continuing ed. And so this information I got right from Stephen Robert. He was the host of the continuing ed class, and he is the owner, the founder of Bedrock Credit America. And I would definitely recommend that you check these guys out. If you have questions about your credit report, your credit score, if you're not sure how to read the report, if there are things on there that you're just maybe confused about or just need some clarification on, give these guys a call. Their information, it's bedrockcreditamerica.org is their website. Phone number's right there on the screen, and Steven's email. This guy is a genius. And the information that he talked about, it was a 3-hour class, so obviously I can't squeeze it all into a half an hour show. But we'll probably do another episode on this as well, because there's a lot of really great information there. And honestly, there was information that I wish I had known 30 years ago. So let's start by defining a credit score. So we all probably know what this is, right? So your credit score ranges usually from between 300 to 850. And this represents your credit worthiness based on that history, right? Through different lenders, predicting things like, how likely you are to pay back the debt. And then lenders use that information to decide on whether or not you get approved, your interest rate, and your credit limit, things of that nature. And then obviously the higher your score, the better, the lower the risk. And I got this information right there, as you see on the screen, from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So what makes up your credit score? So your credit score is comprised of installment loans and revolving lines of credit. So installment loans would be your mortgage, your car loan, if you have a boat or an RV, any other installment loan that you're paying, a fixed payment for a certain term, personal loans, student loans, things like that. And then any revolving lines of credit that you may have. So that would be your credit cards, home equity lines of credit, things of that nature. So according to the lender, what are your odds of defaulting? So based on your score, they've calculated what they think the odds would be that you would default. So you can see there on the screen, if you have above an 800, you have pretty good odds, right? The lender thinks that you're a pretty safe bet. The odds are only 1 in 1,292 that you're going to default. Whereas you can see if your credit score is between 5 and 6, the lender thinks that your odds of defaulting are 1 in 8. That's where there's an uphill battle, right? We are fighting this battle. And I think personally, I think it's a little unfair, right? Your credit report is used against you just about everywhere you turn. And things that may happen, sometimes if you miss a payment or you get behind, sometimes it's just life, right? It's not necessarily your fault. You didn't do it on purpose, but life just gets in the way. Something happens, and you'll see that drop in your score immediately. And it sometimes takes months or years to get that back to where you were before. And I think that's a little unfair. I feel like the credit reporting agencies kind of are holding you hostage in a way. So what is your FICO score? So FICO is an acronym, stands for Fair Isaac Corporation. They are the ones who came up with this. And starting in 2000, they pretty much had the monopoly on the industry, because lenders were using their FICO Classic scoring model to qualify home buyers. And you can see since then they've created FICO versions 8 and 9 and 10 and even 10T in 2020. So if you've ever been to a free website like Credit Karma or something like that, and you see one score and then you apply for a loan, and then all of a sudden the lender's coming back with a much different number. Even if you look at your credit card or bank statement and you see a FICO score, but yet when you apply for a loan, the lender comes up with a different number entirely. Well, here's why. So places like Credit Karma and Experian.com or whatever, they are not necessarily giving you the same score that they're looking at. They're going to give you probably that Vantage 8 score, not your FICO Classic score. So lenders are looking for that FICO Classic, and that's not what you're seeing when you go to these third-party websites. So there's the three credit bureaus that we were talking about. There's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You can actually get a free copy of your credit report from each one of those three credit bureaus once per year. If you just give them a call or go to their website and request a free copy, you can do that. You can see they all started around the 1960s. They're not a government agency. They're independent companies, which means they're making money. They're making money off you. And the reason for that is because creditors have to pay in order to report your payment history to them. So that's why you'll see if you're ever looking at your, say, the Experian website, or if you go to TransUnion or Equifax or wherever, you may see on one credit report, there's your Discover card, let's say, or whatever. And on another one, you may not see it. And that's why, is because the creditors have to pay to report that information to those bureaus. So then you have to go through their dispute process if there's something that you see that's wrong. And I just feel like the whole system needs to be overhauled. So how can you get your FICO score? Well, like I said, you can go to one or all of those credit bureaus individually and get a copy for free once a year. You can also get it from annualcreditreport.com. That doesn't give you the score, but it is free and does not, count as an inquiry on your credit report. But you can at least go and make sure that all the information is up to date and change any information that you need to. You can also go to myfico.com. They actually have an app. I have it on my phone currently, and that gets you all the data. It'll get you your FICO score. Now, it does cost a little bit to get that FICO Classic score. And I didn't even realize this until I looked at it after the class, and I pulled up the app, and the score they were giving me was that Vantage 8 score. It was not giving me my FICO Classic score. So in order to get that, you do have to pay a little bit. But it's worth it, because if you're looking to buy a house, you're going to want that information. You're going to not only want to make sure that all the information on your credit report is up to date and accurate, but you're going to want to see what that true FICO Classic score is, because that's going to be what is used to determine your credit worthiness and, ultimately what your interest rate is and how much home you can get approved for. So things that do not impact your credit score, your name, unless it's a junior senior type thing. So if your dad or you are a junior senior, and then there's sometimes things get mixed up, so you have to get that taken care of. But otherwise, that doesn't affect your credit score. Your address, your employment history, your income. I was a little surprised by that, but that's probably because that will relate to your debt to income ratio, which again, that does not impact your credit score. It does come into play later on down the road, because they are going to look at your debt to income ratio to make sure that you are going to be able to pay back the loan, but it doesn't impact your credit score. And this was something I thought was super interesting that I didn't realize. Non-traditional trade lines. So what a trade line is that item that's reported on your credit report. So your mortgage or your car loan. So that's called a trade line. So these non-traditional trade lines, that's this thing when Experian does Experian Boost, where you can add your rent or your utility bills or your cell phone bill to your credit score to boost your score. No, that does not work. Not when it comes to applying for a mortgage. Those things do not affect your FICO Classic score. And judgments as well. So you'll see as of 2017, judgments do not impact your credit score. It does come into play later on, though, when they do a public record search. It is going to come up, but your judgments do not actually affect your credit score. So when applying for a loan, what makes a good score? So you can see here, based on the type of mortgage that you're looking for, what type of score you should have. So conventionally, you should be over 620, FHA over 580, but it does say you can go as low as 500. So if you're in that area, if you're between that 5 and 6, you can still qualify for a mortgage. You're probably going to pay a lot more in interest than if your credit score was a little bit better, but you can still qualify. So check with your lender to find out what kind of programs that they have. And you can see there also VA, USDA, looking for over 620 as well. So that gold standard is about 760 is what they're looking for. So if you're looking for the best possible interest rate, you want to have a score above 760. So again, there's so much more that I want to go over with you on this. Wasn't sure how much I could cram into this episode. So that's where we're going to stop for now. In the next episode, we'll talk about how it breaks down all the percentages. So if you have a delinquency, how does that affect your score? How is that weighted? The types of loans that you have, the mix of loans, the age of the loans, those all come into play to generate that FICO score. So we'll talk about that in the next episode. But this I thought was interesting. I know I've brought it up before. Chris Smith, you can find him on Facebook. I follow him on Facebook. It says everyone's waiting for 3% rate. Here's what actually happens when the rates drop. Demand explodes, inventory disappears, bidding wars return. You end up paying $50,000 more for the same house. And when you think about it, really, that's true. We just went through it, right? We just went through it with COVID. Interest rates dropped to this historic low, and look what happened. So we were making these crazy offers for houses. You had 20, 30 offers on a house. So competition was crazy. People ended up doing all sorts of things that you wouldn't normally do, waiving all of the contingencies and waiving home inspection and offering $100,000 over asking. That's crazy. The best thing to do is to buy now when interest rates are actually pretty good right now. I believe they are under 5 or right around 5, and that's a good place to be. Don't wait for that 3% again, because then we're just going to end up in the same situation like we were before. And honestly, look at what's happened. Now people's property values are skyrocketing because now these towns are doing assessments, and now that they've paid this crazy number for the house, now their taxes are going up, and they're like, well, wait a minute. Why are my taxes going up? Well, because you did it to yourself. You offered way more than the actual value of the house just to get your offer approved or accepted, and now you're reaping the rewards. So this is something actually I wanted to bring up, and I kept forgetting to bring it up in previous episodes. The way I feel that we are going to stabilize the housing market, and I saw this the other day. They actually did this for farmers. They went back to the property assessment in 2020. So that, because these farmers were saying, hey, listen, I can't afford taxes on my farm now because my assessment went up, whatever. So they actually took the assessment and they went back to prior to COVID and put the assessment back down to that level. That's what I think they should do for residential homes. That's what I think they should do for single family homes. They need to go back. We need to go back, pull back that assessment to that level so that home values can even back out, because, home values right now are still high because we're still dealing with the aftermath of COVID and what happened during that period where people were offering these crazy amounts for their house. So this week's mortgage terminology, like we talked about before, bridge financing or a bridge loan. So what that is, if you own your house and now you're looking to buy another house, so you're not carrying two mortgages, you can get a bridge loan. And what that will do is that pays off the mortgage on your first house until it sells. So if you need the equity in house A, to buy house B, so you get this bridge loan. So, because we always try to time it, right? We want to time it so that you close on the sale of your house on the same day that you close on the purchase of your new house. But that doesn't always work, right? Maybe there's a month or 2 months of a gap where you need to, where you're going to end up with two mortgages, right? So to prevent that, you get a bridge loan. So that bridge loan will pay off the mortgage on your first house. And then when that house sells, when you finally close on that house, then you pay off that bridge loan, and then you're just left with the mortgage for the new house that you bought. So that's what a bridge loan or bridge financing is. And we're going to look now at our market analysis for East Granby. This is 06026. And you can see there are 5 active listings, which is down a little bit from February. Median days on market is 17. And in the last 5 days, there are 1 new listing. And you can see there that median price is up about 8% from February to 525.5. Now, again, that median is the middle number. So between 1 and 10, the median would be 5. So it's not the average. It's not the high or low, but it's that middle number. So if you live in East Granby and you're thinking that maybe this spring is going to be when you want to list your house, give me a call or shoot me a text message. My information's been scrolling across the bottom there on the screen. You've got my email address and my cell phone number. Text me, call me, email me. We can do a comparative market analysis to show you how much your house would potentially sell for if you put it on the market. And if maybe East Granby is an area where you want to move to, let me know. We can take a look at maybe those 5 active listings. And here's the important part. We can set up an automatic search for you right through the MLS, which again is that multiple listing service where agents put their listings, to notify you the moment a house becomes available on the market that meets your needs. And why that's important is because, Zillow and Realtor.com and Redfin and wherever else you go, those sites take time to update. They all get their information from the same place. They all get their information from the MLS. So why not go straight to the source and get that information in real time rather than waiting for them to update? And here's the importance of that is because the market is so hot, because there are still a lot of buyers and inventory is still historically a little low, you would want to know immediately when a house that meets your criteria is available. Why would you want to wait and potentially lose out on that house because somebody else saw it before you did? So that's the benefit of working with a realtor like myself, is we can get you that real-time market data and let you know when a house is immediately available. And that also applies to houses that come back on the market. Maybe somebody had listed their house and it was under contract for a while, but maybe the deal fell through. and now it's back on the market. So instead of waiting for Zillow to update and then you see it too late, you're going to get notified immediately that, hey, this house is back on the market. And that even applies when maybe they take the house off the market with withdrawing it for a few months, maybe because they want to do some renovations or whatever. You'll get that real-time data to let you know that the house is back available so that you can go and make an offer. Maybe if you've already seen it, or if you haven't, then you can schedule that showing with an agent like myself so that you can go in and see if it's something that you would want to make an offer on. So that is the data there for East Granby for March. And let's take a look at the data for Berlin. There are 20,485 listings. That's up 76% from February. So now you can see there are people who are starting to say, hey, spring is coming. We're only a few weeks away. Let's get our house listed because we want to be able to move, come springtime. There are 1,687 new listings in the last 5 days. And you can see that median list price, $849,995. That's that middle number. That's even down 12% from February. So house prices are coming down a little bit in Berlin. But if that's something that you're interested in, if maybe you want to list your house, again, let me know. Give me a call or shoot me a text message. Send me an email. I'll do that free comparative market analysis for you. There's no obligation. You don't have to list with me today, but it at least gives you the information, right? So that you can make an informed decision. And even if you're looking to buy, let me know, because even if you're looking to buy in 6 months or 12 months or 2 years, it's the earlier that you can get into the process, the earlier that you start that process, the better off that you are, because that will you'll start to collect the information. You'll get the data that you need to be able to then make that informed decision as to when you should start actively looking. So, don't wait until you're actually ready to reach out to a realtor like myself. Do it ahead of time so that you can then get prepared, and then you'll know exactly what to do when the time is right. I've said it before, getting that pre-approval is definitely step number one. Looking at the house is not step number one, because you don't want to set yourself up for disappointment. You want to be able to go in confidently, knowing how much house you can afford and what kind of offer you can make for that house if you decided to make an offer. You don't want to go look at something, fall in love with it, and then realize, oh, well, this house is $50,000 over my budget. Or conversely, you don't want to cheat yourself either, right? Why look at something that's only, $120,000, like a condo or something like that, when maybe you can afford a nice single family house that's in like the 220 range? So don't cheat yourself either. You want to know exactly what your buying power is. And again, that's what we're talking about in this episode, how your credit affects your buying power. And so you want to start now, because maybe you pull that credit report and you see, oh my gosh, there's this old, bill. I forgot all about it. My Kohl's credit card or something. I forgot I even had this thing, and it went to collections or whatever. Don't pay it. Don't pay it right away. Talk to Steven. He will let you know how you want to handle that. Certain debts like that, you might actually be able to roll into your closing. So it might get paid at the closing table versus paying it up front. I'll talk about that in the next episode, why that's important. The information he gave is so invaluable. I wish I had this information 20 years ago. Before we go, just want to talk about this really quick. I know I brought it up in the last episode, but our 30th anniversary, our 30th annual Bradley Road Race is coming. I know I've mentioned before that I am a Windsor Locks Lion. I'm in the Lions Club. And so I wanted to bring this up because, maybe you want to get involved in the community. Maybe there's something you're looking for. Maybe you're a runner, or maybe you want to get into running. Maybe that was your New Year's resolution this year, is to to start exercising. And this would be a great way. There's a 5K and a 10K. You can walk it too. You don't have to run. But this is a great way to get involved in the community. The Lions Club does a lot of really great things for the community. Here in Windsor Locks specifically, we build ramps for folks who have a hard time, getting in and out of their homes. We collect eyeglasses. We do free eye screenings for kids. So there's a lot of really good things that the Windsor Locks Lions Club, that all Lions clubs do. And this is just one thing that we do as a fundraiser to help us to be able to achieve those goals and to do those things in the community. So if you're interested, you see there on the screen, go to bradleyroadrace.org. That'll bring you to the registration page. Start time is 10 a.m. on Saturday, March 28th. The race is always on the last Saturday of March. So it is coming up pretty quick. You can still register, though. There are still spots available. Registration, again, starts 10 o'clock. Ends at 11:40. It is $38.10. That includes that $3.10 administration fee when you register online. So it's really $35 to register. And registration ends on the day of the race at 10 o'clock or 10:05, excuse me. So again, just wanted to bring that up and encourage you to get out and support the community. Even if you don't live in Windsor Locks, you can certainly get involved. Sometimes Lions clubs will collaborate and we will do joint ventures together. So don't feel like just because you don't live in Windsor Locks that you can't participate, or that if you're not a runner, you can't participate. We're always looking for volunteers. You can stand on the corner to cheer people on. You can hand out water. There's a lot of different things that you can do. And the thing that I'm most excited about is our golf tournament that's coming up. That's going to be in May. So that'll be exciting too. I will put that information out as well when I get the flyer. But again, just wanted to throw that out to everybody in case you were interested. So I want to thank everybody for watching or listening. If you're listening to a podcast on Apple Podcasts, or if you're on YouTube or Facebook, thank you so much for tuning in. I certainly do appreciate it. Don't forget to go to our sponsor, W.GG. You can get yourself a cool little tumbler like this. And I drink it. It's very good. It's the Japanese yuzu flavor is what I have here. I don't know if you can see that. But there's no sugar added. If you are a gamer, or if you are somebody who likes to drink a lot of coffee, but maybe you don't like that 2 o'clock crash, consider it. It's an energy drink. I'll read it right off the label. Dubby is a powdered energy drink that replaces other inferior caffeine beverages. It contains 0 maltodextrin, 0 fillers, artificial colors or dyes. The star of the show is the coffee fruit extract, which helps you focus with no jitters or crash. I've been drinking it. I love it. It tastes great. And so, if you're somebody who drinks the Monsters or Red Bulls and you don't like that crash that happens afterwards, or you don't like the jitters that you get if you drink too many, you can switch to Dubby and drink that. No sugar added. And it tastes delicious. I like it. And there's lots of different flavors that you can choose from. So don't forget to go to their website, W.GG. Use the promo code ThatRealEstateShow with the exclamation point, and you can get 10% off your order. So again, thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate your support, and we will see you next time.